بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. There's a great discussion that's going on. Someone is talking about global warming. Someone is talking about the ecosystem. Someone is talking about the ozone layer. And the common factor in all this is that we don't see it in the manner that we used to see it. Something is not in place. Hear about the swells in the oceans. Sometimes they're exceeding the natural boundaries. Then you see the inconsistency in the patterns of the seasons. In midsummer you can find a cold winter's day, and sometimes in midwinter you can find a warm summer's day. Inconsistency in the seasons. Unseasonal rains. Farmer, when he wants the rain, you don't see the rain then, and when the season has passed, then he's seeing the rain. So as Muslims, our aqeedah and belief is nothing is out of the control of Allah Ta'ala. It's happening not by coincidence. It's happening not by a mistake. It's happening not that Allah Ta'ala, na'uzu billah, has lost control. No. But then there is something that is missing. What's going on? So many times you hear of the earth swallowing people, huge numbers of people like you never hear before. You hear of tornadoes, storms, winds, hurricanes. Now this has become quite common. When you hear it now, it's no more exciting. It's become so common. Then you hear of murder, and so much of murder. Murder, hold-ups. But within all this, the one common line is that exceeding the boundary. Something or some person or some system is not performing and not functioning like it is desired to perform, like you would require it to perform, like you would want it to perform, or you would expect it to perform. Something is going off. So what is it? Allah Ta'ala has kept mankind as the central creation, most central creation. There isn't a creation that is honorable than mankind. He is the focus of all creation. He is the beauty of all creation. Not the malaika have the beauty and comprehensiveness like him, and not any other creation has the comprehensive nature like mankind. Not malaika, not jinnat, nothing. So mankind has become the center of the entire beauty of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Therefore the hadith says it, that I've created mankind in my form. I've created mankind in my form. In other words, to the extent that man reflects the beauty of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, no other creation reflects that amount of beauty of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So he is most comprehensive. So when he's most comprehensive, he's enjoyed the greatest favors, then his responsibility also is proportionate. In any factory, in any organization, the one that enjoys the most favors, then he's most responsible. He's a director, then there is so much of responsibility vested into him. He's the head of department, he's getting so much, so there is so much of responsibility vested into him. So if there's anything going wrong anywhere, then every person's finger is pointed towards him that he is responsible. Why was there a collapse in the system? There is a collapse in the system because of you, some mismanagement on your side. So mankind has been appointed as the manager of the entire world. When he's been favored so much, he's been blessed so much, he's been honored so much, then you are most responsible. You will be held responsible. إِذْ قُلْنَا لِلْمَلَائِكَةِ اسْجُدُوا لِآدَمَ فَسَجَدُوا إِنِّي جَاعِلٌ فِي الْأَرْضِ خَلِيفَةً. Allah Pak announced it. You're going to be the Khalifa. You're going to manage all my affairs. So all the responsibility is vested in you, and all the favors are given to you as well. Favors like were not given to anybody are given to you. The faculty of understanding and reasoning. Show me any creation that enjoys it to the level man enjoys it. Maybe other animals do have some type of reasoning. Right? You will show it a stone, it will run away. So some reasoning, some understanding it's got. But a long-term understanding, reasoning, any creation does it have it? No, nothing. So man is connected to the heavens on the one end, he's connected to the earth on the one end. The connection to the heaven gives him the capacity to control and administer, and the connection to the earth gives him the understanding how to utilize the potentials of the earth. So one is management, and one is the ability to be able to use everything for what it has been created. So Allah Ta'ala has given him so much. So when he's given him so much, then you are responsible also. Your responsibility grows to that extent. Inna aradna al-amanata ala samawati wal-ard. Allah Pak says that we had offered the amanat, this whole responsibility, we had offered it to the heavens and the skies. Offered it to them, we all take it on. Offered it to the mountains, we offered it to the earth. Samawati wal-ardi wal-jibal, all the mighty creations, we have offered it to them. So their natural response was, oh Allah Ta'ala, if we take it on, then what? And if we fail to carry out, then what? Right? If we carry it out, then what? And if we fail to carry it out, then what? Obviously Allah Ta'ala gave them some sense of understanding and reasoning. Like Allah Pak has given you a sense of understanding and reasoning. It didn't come just like that. Allah Pak put it into you. Right? You got a sense of understanding and reasoning. This is the disregard of science towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that when we see some greatness, then we attribute it to science. Whose science? We say that animal has got this instinct naturally. Naturally, who's that nature? So it's a calculated effort to remove Allah Ta'ala from the equation. When we say science, we say natural, what is it? It's a calculated effort to remove Allah Ta'ala from this entire equation. Who is it? Who planted that instinct into that? So like Allah Ta'ala had given it that instinct, He has given you the ability of understanding, reasoning, of looking at things short term and long term. Allah Ta'ala has done it. He's given you that ability to look at a problem, and analyze a problem, diagnose, prescribe. Who's given you that ability? And no other creation has got it. He has given it to you. So this ability for reasoning, analyzing situations in the true perspective was given to Allah, given to you by Allah Ta'ala. And before He could give it to you, He granted it to all this earth and the heavens and all that. He granted it to them. Right? So they asked, naturally they asked Allah Ta'ala, if we carry it out, be successful, then what? And if we fail, then what? Right? Like anybody will ask, if I pass my matric exams, then what? And if I fail, then what? If I pass the board exams, right, of accountants, then what? And if I fail, then what? Or for that matter, anything, law, medicine, whatever. If I pass the board exams, then what will I get? What opportunities will I get? And if I fail, then what will I get? So that's natural for anybody to ask. So they asked also the same way. So Allah Ta'ala told them, if you fail, that you'll be in for punishment, difficulty, problems, constraints. And if you pass, then apart from all the other favors that you will gain my proximity, you will gain my closeness. So mankind was vested, he was vested with love, right? More than every other creation. He had been given other features, other qualities, but one thing that was outstanding in mankind was love, muhabbat. Right? So every other creation refused. Hey, if we fail, we're going to catch it and get it badly. Right? We're going to be in for problems. Though we're going to get reward like this, but if we fail in the process, what's going to happen to us? So just reflecting over the punishment, they said, no, we call it off. We don't want to accept it. But mankind came to the fore because he was overwhelming with love. He was drowning with love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And he says, in spite of the risk, there's a great risk factor. But if I gain, I'll gain very great. Now here I'm stuck in one position. I can't move forward, I can't move backwards. The Malaika themselves says, they're also stuck in one position. Illa lahu maqamun ma'loom. Don't the Malaika say? The Malaika say themselves, maqamun ma'loom. What's the whole ayat? Ji? وَمَا مِنَّا إِلَّا لَهُ مَقَامٌ مَعْلُومٌ. All of us, without exception, whether Jibreel, Mikael or any other Malaika, they say, وَمَا مِنَّا إِلَّا لَهُ مَقَامٌ مَعْلُومٌ. We're just stuck in one position. We can't progress and we don't retrogress as well. So the Malaika also stuck. But man, he's been overwhelmed, he's been drowned with the love of Allah Ta'ala. And he says, in spite of the risk that is involved, I want to gain proximity of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I want to gain closest to Him. I want to know my Creator more and more. I want to see Him more and more. So this is muhabbat. Or muhabbat apne karashma dikhata hai. Muhabbat shows you its beauty, its love. And every step on the road of muhabbat is more and more exciting. The more you're advancing, the more you're progressing, the more you want to see muhabbat. Majnoon's father, he got to know that he is badly in love to the point of infatuation, right, to Layla. So he brought his son to the Kaaba Sharif and he instructed him, hold on to the gilaf of the Kaaba Sharif in Miktoba. So Majnoon held on to the gilaf of the Kaaba Sharif. Ya Rabbi tubtu min kulli asi. Allah Ta'ala, all gunas I ask for maaf. Every guna I ask for maaf. Walakin hubbu Layla la atubu. Allah Pak, this muhabbat of Layla, I don't ask maaf for that. That I want more and more. I want to progress in that. I don't want any compromise, no discount on that. I just want to increase on that. So you see muhabbat, that's the natural property of muhabbat. The more you progress, the more you want to progress. The more you progress, the more you want to progress. Allah Ta'ala hame zarra barabar apni muhabbat naseeb farma. Just one drop, one iota of His love. And we'll look at life differently, completely different. We'll take a turnabout. Now we're looking at life in one direction, in one way we are looking at it. But if only Allah Ta'ala granted you a small, minuscule of an atom, not an atom, a minuscule of atom of His love, you will look at life totally differently. The whole understanding of life will be different. So anyway, we are talking about all these systems that are all failing and collapsing, exceeding the limits, right? Then we spoke about mankind. He is the choicest creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The favors Allah ta'ala has put into him, the bounties Allah ta'ala has granted him, no creation enjoys the type of favors that Allah Ta'ala has granted mankind. When you see a small little child in India, he's leading a big elephant. A 1 kilometer ship is being maneuvered by one young captain, one person, 1 kilometer ship, such a big thing, hundreds of thousands of tons, one person is maneuvering it. So do you see the type of intelligence, the type of power, the type of ability Allah Ta'ala has granted mankind? Right? what Allah Ta'ala is putting to this man. A small little man, so weak, but he can maneuver such a big thing. So obviously there is something else that you've been created for. Right? When I favored you like this, that you've got the command and you've got the control over all this creation are subservient to you, then really your portfolio is different. Your portfolio is not like what you think. It's something beyond what you think. So you are like the pivotal point of Allah Ta'ala's creation. You will make a lot of decisions for the entire universe. But if you yourself go wrong, then there is disasters for the entire earth. The salt was to improve the food, isn't it? Why do you add salt to the food? To improve the quality. But if the salt itself went off, then can you expect the food to improve? You can't. If the salt itself is gone off. So man, that's your position. That you are to improve the status of the entire universe. But if you go off, then the entire universe goes off. That man goes off. Now see how his thinking goes pervert. He's pervert in his thinking. Thinking goes off. Right? He doesn't understand what is his position. A man wants to behave like a woman, and a woman wants to behave like a man. Don't you see it today? Same-sex marriages, right? Man wants to behave like a woman, and a woman wants to behave like a man. In her clothing, in her appearance, she wants to appear like a woman, like a man. And then a man wants to appear like a woman. She wants to take on the responsibilities that were meant for men. Right? Allah Pak has asked man to go out and work, right? And the proof for that is, look, in the last 1,000 years, right? 1,000 years from the time of your grandfather, right? From then right till Rasulullah, who was going outside the house and who was working within the house? Right? Man was working outside and woman was working within. Now, they want to bring a whole change about in the whole system and the plan of Allah Ta'ala. No, woman, you must also go and work. And man, you must also go and work. So isn't this changing and interfering with the plan of Allah Ta'ala? It's a plan of Allah Ta'ala, it's a system of Allah Ta'ala. You do this, I will do this. But now you say, no, let's change the whole thing, let's alter it. You must do this, and I will also do it. Both of us will do it concurrently. Both will do it parallel to each other. So it's just changing the system of Allah Ta'ala. If you're going to change the system of Allah Ta'ala, then you expect that type of problems. Right? Allah Ta'ala has got mountains, right? He's got it for a certain reason. He's got jungles for a certain reason. You remove the entire mountain, remove the entire jungle, will you have a problem? You will definitely have a problem. You look at all this, natural, geographic and all that, and they will tell you will definitely have a problem. Something is not balanced. Because of that imbalance, you're having such a great problem. So similarly, when there is a problem in your behavior, you're going to have a big problem afterwards. Your behavior has gone off. When your behavior has gone off, your conduct has gone off, you've lost your position, then you're going to have a problem afterwards. You must expect it. To not expect a problem is ridiculous. You must have a problem afterwards. You take a poison, right? It must have the consequence. For the consequences not to come, then that is like asking, it's something ridiculous. That he took that poison, nothing happened. So when you're going to change this whole system of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you are exceeding the limit. So when you are exceeding the limit, right, then these other creations also are the slaves of Allah ta'ala. They are also exceeding the limit. See, unseasonal rains are coming in. The weather pattern is inconsistent. The ozone is going off. Right? So all these things are happening. So when you have lost your position, these things have lost their positions. Right? You have exceeded the limit, they have exceeded the limit. So why do you complain? Now you're having conference, big conference, you're having all people from all part of the world come and have a conference. Why all these things are going on? That thing is going to go, it's going to go off. You could have another 100 million conference, but that thing is going to go off. It's playing with the system of Allah Ta'ala. In short, in very simple words, we are playing with the system of Allah Ta'ala. When you are playing with the system of Allah Ta'ala, you're playing with fire. There must be some repercussion that's going to follow afterwards. If you conform and agree with the system of Allah Ta'ala, then you'll find everything agreeable with you. Uqba ibn Nafi radiallahu anhu, they are with an entire contingent of the Sahaba Kiram. They come into the African jungle and they announce, they found the most conducive place for them to settle. They settled there, and as they settled there, found it the most comfortable place to be settling. They saw that it was a place with lions, leopards, pythons, etc. So one Sahabi goes up and he says, I'll make the announcement. And he says, you see, we are the Sahaba of Rasulullah Pak Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and we have decided to be stationing here. And all of you are giving you 1 or 2 days to leave this place here. And remember, after 2 days, if you see any of you, we will not hesitate in killing you. The history books have got it in record that the lion moved away with its cubs, the python moved away with its small, every wild beast moved away from that area. You see, they conformed with the system of Allah Ta'ala, and everything conformed with their plan. But they gave in, they submitted, they surrendered, they gave in to the plan of Allah Ta'ala. When they gave in to the plan of Allah Ta'ala, everything else became subservient to them. Everything began to serve them. That's, simply put, very simply, very easily understood, that they gave themselves to the plan of Allah Ta'ala. When they gave themselves to the plan of Allah Ta'ala, everything became subservient. Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas radiallahu anhu is going to conquer the Persian lands, right? And they're seeing the flourishing towns of Persia from besides the river Dajla. They're seeing the